Beautiful. Welcome back to the farm. I kind of wasted a beautiful day because I was stuck indoors working and I had to go to a doctor's appointment. But I did want to get out and do a little bit. So like I said the other day, hello, Gimli is feeling frisky. The onions that I had in the seed snail indoors are getting a little crispy. The roots are coming out the bottom, which is good. That's what we want to see. And they needed more light. So I brought them out and put them in the bed they're going to be in. I also decided to risk it and put that savory and lemon balm out in the garden. Now, it's not where it's going to go, but I can't put it in the front garden right now because the chickens will tear it to pieces. And I would like to put the peas out because now that it's warm enough, we'll get below freezing at night, but it's above freezing all day, and the peas don't mind that kind of weather. I want to put them in, at least put the snails in the beds they're going to go in, but really I could get those beds turned and get them direct planted right now if I wanted to. But if I did that rabbit that you saw last week will just come along and eat the tops off all of them, then I won't get any peas again. So I took measurements to get hardware cloth to put around the bottom of the shed, and also coincidentally to use to make a soil sifter for when I dig out the compost bin, which is thawed out, so I should be able to turn that this week. I think this week is going to be a lot of shovel work, so brace yourself. But now that I've got those measurements, it's about 65.5 feet all the way around the shed. So I don't think I can get 75-foot rolls. I think I have to get 100-foot rolls or 250-foot rolls. So I think I'm going to take the opportunity tonight, run into town and get that hardware cloth. And then I can spend tomorrow on my free time getting that all stapled around the base. I need to do a trick in the back so that if there are rabbits living under the shed, they can get out, but they won't be able to get back in. I'm hoping there's no babies under there, because if there are young babies that are still nursing, Mom won't be able to get back in to feed them, and they won't make it. But I can't tell, and I can't live my life based on what ifs, so we got to get this done. At the very least, I'll get it put around the garden side so that they can't get into the garden, and then we'll worry about the backside when we get to it. The chickens have all gotten used to me bringing snacks out to them around 5, 6 o'clock at night when I try and chase them back into the run, which is why they are all following me. They think they're going to get goodies. They did get a whole pan full of scrambled eggs earlier, because for some reason the last batch of eggs I put out didn't sell, and they were out there for about 2 weeks, and they got frozen and they got condensation, and they weren't any good for selling. So I scrambled them all up and gave them out to the chickens, and they loved it. They snarfed that right down. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. Back up at the shed. It's been a beautiful day temperature-wise, but it rained all morning. We got about 3/4 of an inch of rain since last night. And I supposedly have about 20 minutes before it starts raining again. So I don't expect I'm going to get this done, because I've got my supplies there. But I want to get as much of it done today as I can. I am on a clock right now because I've got some holes I've got to get dug, and that's got to be tomorrow's project. So we're going to get as much of this done today as we can. As soon as it starts raining, we'll give it up, but hopefully if I can at least get this side and the front done, and at least one roll, because this roll will do this end, this side. So this is 8 foot 10 feet, That little piece there is 2 feet, so that's 20 feet, and then 5 feet will get me about halfway down the shed. This hardware cloth was so expensive, it's not even real. I had expected to pay $50 to $75 for 100 feet, and it's $45 for 25 feet. So I'm really going to have to rethink how I'm doing this. I can actually get more of the welded wire like I used for this fence cheaper. So for the 50 feet I got of the hardware cloth, I can get 100 feet of the welded wire. So I may end up using that on the back side, but I'm gonna get this done. This will at least keep voles from coming under the shed. But I really wanted to do the hardware cloth all around the perimeter to keep the voles and the chipmunks and the squirrels from getting into the garden too. But there's no way. I just absolutely cannot afford that. I think I used 300 feet of the welded wire. So that's almost $500, and I can't do that. So the voles and I are gonna have an ongoing discussion, but I at least want to get this done properly so it'll keep the bulk of stuff from coming under the shed and out into the garden, and then we'll worry about the perimeter as we go on. But let's at least get this done. quickly I ran out of time and it started raining. But I can at least do this inside. Whew. My shoulder doesn't like this very much, but as usual, my estimating skills failed me, but for a change, that works out in my favor. The gap under this shed, especially by the double doors, is fairly substantial. And when you do this kind of pest prevention, you really want to leave theoretically a foot out on the flat, so it's going up and down on the shed, and you want it to come out across the ground a little bit so anything that's digging can't dig down and then up under the other side of the fencing. So I thought I was going to need 2 feet to be able to cover these gaps. Well, I really don't. And really, a foot, this looks like more than a foot, but it's what the packaging says, so I'm going to trust it. Holding it up and stapling that first batch in place, I realized I really didn't need the whole 2 feet. It would have stuck way out into the grass. So I'm cutting it in half, and I just took a pre-cut piece out to check it against the shed, or the double doors. And I may still want to run a full section across that, but I have enough of the wire once I cut it to still leave a section uncut and staple that on the front, and then have this cover the rest of it. This is very tedious, and I know there's a faster way to do this, but I don't own an angle grinder, and they kind of scare me. So I don't foresee getting one in the immediate future. So it does leave me sitting here in the shed with a pair of wire cutters making my shoulder scream at me. And I'll just do this until my shoulder can't take it anymore, and then I'll give up and go inside and take my Tylenol, because I'm getting old. I do think this is going to make a big difference, and I am grateful that I only need half of the wire that I thought I did. So I can do a couple of repairs and adjustments other places that do need the full. I'm kind of anxious about the cost of the wire, because we're building the rabbitry this weekend, and I need to cover, it's going to be 10 by 10, and I need to cover the walls and the floor in wire to keep predators out and the rabbits in. I think I can do it with chicken wire. I may even look at, I don't know what they call it, the mesh that they use for pouring concrete. That wouldn't work for the walls, but it may work for the floor, just to kind of interfere with the rabbit's ability to dig down. But it's going to depend on how big the gaps are. So I'll take a look at that when I go in to get the other supplies I need. Those are the holes that I need to dig. I've got to dig the corner posts for the rabbit run. I tried sticking a piece of rebar down into the ground to see if the ground's still frozen. It's hard to tell whether I hit frozen or rock, but I guess I'll just dig as deep as I can and we'll worry about if it's frozen when we get there. It is supposed to rain the entire rest of the week. The weekend is supposed to be very nice, thankfully, so we may just be digging holes on Saturday and getting as much done as we can as quick as we can. But that's a future problem. And right now, I have 10 feet of wire to cut. All right, it's not perfect, but it's a start. Now I still need to come along and put cardboard down under the edge of this and mulch the heck out of it. And that should at least discourage anything from trying to get out. Right now, if they gave a hard push, they could probably still come underneath this. I need to wire that corner up because I screwed up the way I cut it initially, so I've got to fix that. And actually, I almost want to put like bricks or something on it. something really heavy to hold it down. But that's not happening today. Today, I still have to go grocery shopping, and I have a meeting tonight. Whew. We're in that season where it's really hard to dress for the weather. It was 45 degrees when I got up this morning, and it's 38 right now. So the temperature dropped over the course of the day. Sorry about that. Whew. Whew. I also can't remember what day it is. It is Wednesday. So I have 2 days until Crow gets here. We are supposed to get more rain, and it's supposed to be in the 40s tomorrow. So with any luck, I can try and get those holes dug tomorrow. But I'm not optimistic about it. Stopped raining. It was raining all morning. But we've got a window here where the sun's out and it's not supposed to rain for a couple of hours, so I can get some work done. But I can't get the work that I want to get done. The soil is still too wet and it needs another couple of days to dry out. And I don't have the spoons to dig post holes because I know how rocky that soil is going to be, and it's just going to be hard work. So I'll make Crow do it tomorrow. I am going to do a couple more, not terribly pleasant jobs, but jobs that need to get done. And now that I don't have Morgan here to dump the dirty jobs on, I got to do them myself. I've already cleaned out the corner of the rabbitry where they do the most of their business and put some fresh hay down to kind of absorb anything coming off of that, especially now that the babies are moving around. There's going to be a lot more poo in there, so we got to keep on top of that. But I also desperately need to clean out the chicken coop, because I've been doing deep litter bedding all winter, which has worked great to a point. And unfortunately, that point was probably about a month ago. The level of the shavings has gotten high enough now that they're actually kicking the shavings into the nesting boxes, which isn't pleasant for the eggs, it's not pleasant for the chickens, it's not pleasant for me. And now would be as good a time as any to get that cleaned out, get those shavings composting, and start breaking down. I can't put them on the garden this year because they're still too hot. Although I might take them out and do top dressing for the fruit trees up in the orchard. But I'm going to wait and decide on that. For now, I'm going to reset the composting ring and start loading that up with these shavings. And I can pull from that if I need to when it's time to do the trees. I'm going to go to a semi-local nursery in a couple of weeks to get rooted fruit trees. I haven't had luck with bare root, so I'm going to give rooted a try. The ones I got last year seem to do pretty well. But that's a whole different video. Right now, we're cleaning out the chicken coop, and I have some improvements to make for the nesting box. So let's start shoveling. Right, well, we're not 100% done, but we're 90% done. I don't want to put the nesting box back inside because I want the top to dry out. I have some linoleum tiles that I picked up at the reuse center that I want to put on top of it before I put it back, because it goes under the roosting bars and it gets covered in chicken manure, really thick, and so I need to be able to scrape it off easily, and you can kind of see the damp of it is really soaking into that wood, which is going to shorten the life of the nesting boxes. So I want to put these linoleum tiles on, but I don't want to do it while they're wet, while the wood is wet. So I'm going to let that dry out. We are supposed to get some showers, a couple of showers tonight, but not heavy. And I don't think any rainwater is going to be that bad as long as it gets sunshine tomorrow. So if we can leave it out in the sun most of the day tomorrow and then get those tiles on and get it back in the box. So that's why I loaded up these nesting boxes, and we'll see if they figure out what to do with it or if they just lay them on the floor. I also, for the same reason, I haven't put fresh shavings down on the floor yet, because they're just gonna slide to the back where the nesting boxes are supposed to go and kind of waste the shavings that I would rather have on the floor. So that'll all go in tomorrow. I'm going to end this video here because tomorrow, the other thing going on tomorrow is I'm picking up our special guest star. And they will be here tomorrow afternoon through Monday. We're hoping to get some big projects done, so that should be the next video. Thanks for coming along, and please come back and see what we get up to. Good night, everybody.